Well, good to see a world record holder with a fight in his hands from a youngster, reigning world junior champion. Back to the track, though, now, and we stick with a middle distance clash. Indeed, two of them. The men's 800-meter semi-finals, indeed. Lewis Johnson beside me still will pay particular interest to these, his old event. And some classy performers out there. There's just one of them.
Dwayne Solomon, a graduate from the University of Southern California in 2008, and really proved himself on the biggest stage, Tim, in London last summer, finishing with a personal best of 142.82 at the London Olympics in fourth, one position out of the medals, but still a tremendous race by him, coached by the still American record holder, Johnny Gray.
Well, Solomon goes in lane 5. We can take a look at those in the other lanes now. Richard Jones in 1, Brian Gagnon in 2, Elijah Greer 3, then Johnson in 4. Solomon goes in 5 in that green strip. Jock goes in 6, and there is Charles Jock in that light blue kit. 144 man at his absolute best. He won the NCAAs here last year.
Absolutely, and a great young talent, 23 years old, and he made the 2011 World Championship team with a third-place finish at the U.S. Championships, and he told me that he's hoping to get back to the Worlds again. And when I asked him about his strategy for this semifinal, he said he's going to stay open and just sort of see how the tempo works out early on.
Brandon Kidder, the youngster here. Brandon Kidder, just 19 years old, ran a personal best in his heat of 146.8 yesterday. That was a big improvement for the youngster. Well, Dwayne Solomon should be dominant here, just like Brandon Martinez in that second semi-final, the women's 800 meters. He's in the green strip.
And Dwayne Solomon now, who is going to maybe move into second position on the outside with the sunglasses on there with the green on his jersey, really is a great example of paying the price to get yourself to the greatness of an individual event. Solomon now tucking into second place, and this is his 9th straight appearance at the U.S. Championships, and he's made his way up through great tutelage with Johnny Gray. And again, I can't overemphasize not being overwhelmed at that Olympic stage in that final. As David Rudisha ran a world record, Solomon held his own and again finished in fourth with an unbelievable time.
Richard Jones leads from Solomon in second place. Brandon Johnson in the blue in third place. They come through below us, and that's pretty quick, 50.56. Really only comfortable at this sort of tempo is Dwayne Solomon. His coach Johnny Gray will be an interested spectator of this one. He's a big, powerful man, is Dwayne Solomon there, but this is brave front running from Richard Jones. He's almost acting like a pacemaker there on that white strip.
And Jones does not have an A or B standard for the World Outdoor Championships, and he is trying to run himself onto that potential. But now Solomon at 600 meters showing that strength. Charles Jock in the light blue with the sunglasses now trying to make a move. I see his teeth, which means he's starting to grind. There comes Jock from the back.
Well, Solomon looking very calm indeed. Those dark glasses really do hide so much, don't they? But Johnson looking strong, Solomon looking great as well. It's been a quick race. Remember, 50.5 at 400. They're all working hard. The first 4 go through by right, remember. And that is some run. Boy, oh boy. And a win there for Brandon Johnson, the 28-year-old, a winning time 144.78. That is a new personal best for Brandon Johnson. And he had the perfect pacemakers in the figures of Richard Jones and then latterly Dwayne Solomon through the 750 meters of that one until he hit the front. And there is Dwayne Solomon, who's got to remain calm. I don't suppose he'll put too much import on that defeat.
Not at all. And what I'd be more concerned about is Brandon Johnson's effort to run 144.78. As you see now, Solomon is in the lead. He's comfortable. But look at the difference in the stride pattern now here as Brandon Johnson, who was an All-American 400-meter hurdler at USC, now really making the effort. There's no reason to do that. You're trying to qualify to the final and have that effort on Sunday. But he does run an incredible time, 44.78. Now the question for Johnson, can you repeat?
Well, Brandon Johnson winning it in under 145. Solomon looking fine in 145.07. Elijah Greer 145.16. That's great running from him. Third at the NCAAs here the last couple of years, and the fourth qualifying spot by Jock, 145.29. And Dwight Stones, while all that action's been going on the track, is down with the fields.
I'll tell you, the last field event of the day, the discus thrown on a big field. Lance Brooks, the Olympic trials winner last year, he had to get the A standard on his final throw at the trials. And here in Des Moines, with not great conditions as far as wind is concerned, he wins the event at 2:04.4. No American discus thrower has an A or a B standard. To tell you how glamorous this event is, he sometimes works as a bouncer to pay for his training time. So Brooks wins it at 2:04.4, but he's going to have to chase the standard if he wants to go to Russia. Tim?
Well, I don't know about bouncers, the middle distance guys.
Have you ever worked as a bouncer?
I don't know, but I've been barged a bit in 800s in years gone by, as I'm sure you have. Nick Simmons goes in his second semi-final, the men's 800 meters. He goes in lane 5 as the Eugene man, a 1:42 performer, a frustrated 5th in that Olympic final last year.
Yeah, but still a great run. And look, this man has been a title machine, looking for his, you hear him now being announced to the crowd, looking for his 6th straight U.S. title.
Well, he should be a shoo-in for one of the first 4 places. There's the full lineup. Abda, Sawinski, Vizorek, Rutt, Simmons, Mulder, Loxon, and Dede on the outside. And there is Tyler Mulder. Watch him. He's in lane 6.
Yeah, and he's been close to making the U.S. team in the 800 the past 2 years. Was 4th in 2011 at this very meet, so, and 5th at the U.S. Olympic trials. So again, he's trying to figure out how to crack the nut and make the world team. But this young man right here, Nick Simmons, has proved himself again, like Dwayne Solomon, finishing in 4th, Simmons in 5th. But the interesting nugget here, Tim, is that he's only run 1 800 this year. He was 3rd at Pre in a time of 1:45.40. What does he have today?
Well, very slow to get into his running. There was Tyler Mulder. Nick Simmons almost up alongside him over the first 20 meters. Now Mulder beginning to move away, and gone off very strongly too is Casimir Loxam in the yellow there, top left of picture. He was out in lane 7. His season's best is only 1:46.7.
And if I were to answer my own question about what does Simmons have in his hip pocket today, it's probably confidence. You know, as I mentioned, he's won numerous U.S. national titles, Division II national titles before he came into prominence in Oregon, and of course his experience at the World and Olympic stage. So Simmons, coming from the back, not as far as he used to, has now moved up comfortably into 4th position. There in the green.
Tyler Mulder leading then, a training partner with Simmons. I wonder if there's been a little discussion between those two as they come down the home straight. It's not going to be as quick, nearly as quick as that first semi. Now Simmons moving around the outside into 3rd place, beautifully poised as they go through 400 in a steady 52.13. Not quick, not slow.
Yeah, and you know what I love to see about Simmons is he's a man who has learned from his previous mistakes. He's run great because he learned that he can't lay back in these races and then have this long, wide swinging close from 300 on. Right now with 300 to go, he's in command, letting Tyler Mulder do all the work.
Well, and he's sitting on the shoulder of Tyler Mulder. In 3rd place, Casimir Loxam having a good run here. 2nd in the NCAA's indoors and outdoors this year, and he's hanging in there in 3rd place behind the Oregon pair. Simmons forcing him wide. He's right on the shoulder of his training partner, who's run really strongly here, Tyler Mulder. He's led every step of the way. They come into the straight now, but there's 5 men still in it, and this is going to be tight. And Sawinski, the quick finisher, coming through in the blue. He's a lovely-looking runner. Simmons glancing around. These 4 well away now. Simmons and Mulder going to get through okay. The 3 of them abreast across the line. There's Simmons, don't know why, bothering to dip at the line. 1:45.22. It's a very, very solid time indeed. And he did indeed get the win with that dip, for what it's worth. Mulder 2nd, 1:45.24. There was centimeters, millimeters in it, hundreds of inches in it, but it doesn't matter. The first 4 go through by ride, and the lane draw, of course, in the final, not as critical as in full lap races.
Well, there's nothing like coming home in an 800-meter race knowing you have command of your body, your speed, and as Sawinski makes a nice rush there in the light blue on the outside, Mulder's confident, Simmons is confident, and as they come to the finish line, you can see now that it looks like that Simmons actually won and Mulder was 2nd. But again, look at the dip right here at the tape, and he says, I want my name at the top of that semifinal finish list.
Haven't even mentioned Michael Rutt there. A great run from him to take 4th place, but those 2 teammates very happy, as I'm sure Michael Rutt will be. The first 4 were well ahead of the rest of them. Let's take a look at the result of that one. The standings after that 2nd and final semi-final. Nick Simmons, Tyler Mulder, Eric Sawinski, and Rutt go through to the final. We can head down to Dwight.
All right, Tim. Well, this is your meet. Won it 5 times, going for 6, including winning 1 here. The rest of them in Eugene. A little bit different race plan than we're used to seeing out of you, being up there close to the front.
If it's going to be slow like that, I don't mind running from the front. It's just when a guy like David Rudisha goes out in 48, I have trouble finding myself up front as a 47.4 quarter miler.
You have to think that that's the way it's going to go in Moscow, though. What can you do to really get ready for something like that? I mean, you got 5th last summer. You ran a great time, but it's not what you want.
No, I mean, I got to make the team first here. That's obviously going to be difficult with the talented field that we have on Sunday. But once I've done that, I'm very raw. I know what I need to do. I need to develop my speed. I'm probably one of the faster 1500 guys in the final every year at the world level with a 3:36 PR. I really got to develop my speed. I need to be a 46 low quarter miler so I can actually get out and be in the hunt a little bit farther ahead.
All right, good luck on Sunday.
All right, thanks.
Tim?
Interesting, isn't it? Nick Simmons there knows he's far from the finished article. He knows there's a lot of polishing to do to become the full force at 800 meters. There's the final list, though, for the men who've made it through. Johnson, Solomon, Greer, Jock, Simmons, Mulder, Sawinski and Rutt. No major surprises there. It is nicely poised for a really, really good middle distance race. Well, the women's 100-meter final coming up. There are the ladies preparing. They'll be sprinting right to left here at Drake Stadium just a few minutes' time. Who will be US champion? For more information on USA Track and Field, log on to usatf.org. Well, it's dusk here in Des Moines. The moon isn't really that large. We have good cameras here in Drake Stadium. But thankfully, it is just beginning to cool down. It's been 90 degrees Fahrenheit for many, many hours. The wind still blustery here. I wouldn't say it's nearly as strong as it was 3 or 4 hours ago. But the ladies are out for this 100 meters final. And English Gardner, the new youngster on the scene. She is 21, 7th in the Olympic trials last year. I think she'll go a little bit better in this final.
Well, I think she'll have to if she wants to win. She's a coach's dream. Most sprinters run from the 400-meter dash. She leads off Oregon's 4x4. So she is not afraid of the 200 and not afraid of the 400. That says a lot about her chances as a pro. But what a personal best. She's one of 7 people in this final who set personal best in the semifinal round.
Well, Barbara Pierre was one of the other athletes who blazed to a 10:85 in the semi-final, the fastest time in the world this year with a legal wind, and that was her first time ever under 11 seconds. Hard to believe.
Well, if you're going to do it big, right? 15 hundredths of a second under 11 flat. Barbara Pierre has the edge of being a good starter, but I think throw out everything you saw in the semifinals. We know that Pierre and Gardner look good in the semifinals, but both of them are going through something they never have before. They're now favorites in a pro race, and they have next to them people who have been here before. Mona Lee in lane 2 is an Olympic finalist.
Well, the men's final, of course, that men's 100 final will be after this one. Justin Gatlin, Tyson Gay there in yellow. They met already today in the semi-final with Gay coming out on top by about 1.5 meters. But Gatlin, do you think he's got something left?
I think this race is the exact opposite. I think this race is Tyson Gay's to lose. He's way ahead of everybody else. The question is who gets second and third.
Well, the ladies are coming up. That women's 100 meters final with Barbara Pierre, the experience, up against the youngster English Gardner, just minutes away. Stay with us. Well, there's the Capitol building in Des Moines, and we are in Drake Stadium for the Nike Women's 100 meters final. This promises to be special. The wind is still gusting around Drake Stadium. We've seen some astonishing times in the semi-finals. There's the finish line, which we understand the athletes have been having trouble sighting as they're sprinting in the opposite direction to normal here in Drake Stadium. But that will certainly help them. Well, there is Sharonda Williams. She goes in lane 1. The 26-year-old has never broken 11 seconds. Already has a bye to the World Championships this year because she was Diamond League winner last year over 200 meters.
So trying to make it in 2 events to the World Championships.
Mona Lee, the 2-time Olympian, she goes right beside Sharonda Williams, and well, she'll struggle here, I think, to go with the very best Pierre and Gardner.
She's the only lady in this final that did not set a personal best in the semifinal.
Lane 3, Oriel Scott.
And the University of Central Florida, well represented here. She set a personal best in the semifinals, 10.96. She may need another one to make the team.
Barbara Pierre was the sensation of the semifinals.
I think I make her a slight favorite, 10.85, her first sub-10, the U.S. indoor champion. A consistent start is an edge for her in this final.
And she's up against the youngster English Gardner in lane 5, 10.87 in her semi.
This could be the coming out party for young English Gardner. Left school early, a chance here to be national U.S. champion.
In lane 6, Octavius Freeman, 10.91.
Reminds me a lot of Allison Felix, 10.90 in her semifinal, a new personal best for her as well.
And there's class in just about every lane. In lane 7, Alex Anderson, she too has run 10.91.
And that was a new personal best, her first time under 11. So, as I said before, 7 of these women rode those barely legal wins to personal bests in the semifinal round.
And Jenna Batama, another personal best in her semi, 10.98.
Yeah, she went from 11.2 this year to 10.98. And if you remember, she was in lane 1 in the Olympic trial. She's on the outside again. They better watch for her. A lot of us weren't watching for her in Eugene last year. She always seems to run well come final time.